We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness, it's so nice to say these words and actually to be with you again. This is episode 50. You didn't think we're going to cancel or quit doing the podcast right before episode 50. Oh no. Quarantine is semi over and I'm glad to be back. Just to let you know, I wasn't sick, wasn't anything like that. It's hard to do these things throughout the quarantine, working from home and everything. To be managed at one place, sharing the same room with my wife. This is just hasn't been very convenient for me. But now, as we're freeing up a little bit and life is getting back to normal, slowly but surely, I can say that we're back. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know when the next episode will be, but I'm sure it's not going to take us several months. I'm sure it's not going to take us several weeks to get back to greet you here, all the sports fans in the world, and talk NBA, talk UFC, talk whatever right now. I really don't know what we're going to talk about today. Do have some pointers. Um, I'm actually planning to call this as a quarantine recap. But yeah, there's a lot of UFC going on, so that we will talk about for sure. For now, I'm just glad to say that we are back, and thank you for being with us. Your support has definitely been felt. Thank you for listening to all the episodes, and damn, we needed to bring this back, and I'm happy. This is summer, first day of summer. I'm recording this June 1st. Uh, Lovely afternoon in Vilnius, Lithuania. And yeah, quarantine is not officially over, but we are definitely out of the woods, at least here in Lithuania. Just like some other countries, slowly getting back to work, slowly getting back to the society, start partying, start eating out, all the good stuff. All the good stuff. And waiting for the sports to come back as well. And this has been one heck of a gap. Yeah, man, the last time I spoke with you guys, now that I can actually chill out a little bit and speak like a normal human being, the last time it was the Kobe episode, January 29th, and we are on June 1st. Insane. 4 months of absence, uncalled for, really. And obviously the definitely the worst way to stop podcasting was with Kobe's episode. Maybe it was nice because we gave a good tribute. Buddy Al and I we gave a good tribute to Kobe, but yeah, there was a lot of. I mean, January 29th, that was still early days of Kobe passing. So yeah, it was depressing time. Depressing time. Uh, just shitty feelings all over the place. Watching all the reminiscence and all that. It was just very. I don't know. It was just a bummer, man. It was just such a bummer to watch all the memories, but realizing that this guy's gone and we will never see this again. I actually mentioned that that NBA will never be the same. I didn't know that the quarantine is knocking at the door, but yeah, it changed a lot of things in this world, obviously, and in the sports as well. And actually, after that episode, Buddy Al and I, we were recording one. We were actually recording one about the All Star break, about the All Star weekend. Also, UEFA Champions League, the top 16. Everything was right at the corner, and yeah, we were recording a heck of an episode out there. Actually, had a lot of fun, but we had a ton of technical difficulties. Uh, Still did this remotely, only for the second time we tried something like this, and it didn't work out too well for us. Um, Al's computer was shutting down. The stream was not that great. Uh, we were actually delayed as hell. We had some hiccups with the meeting invitations and all that. Just going through growing pains trying to figure this shit out. We're not exactly the most produced podcast with all the best equipment. I mean, we try to go as we know, and so it was tough. It was tough to organize. It was tough to produce, and yeah, at the end of the day, I just said, you know what, fuck this, man. Let's just quit because yeah, a huge chunk of that podcast was not recorded. So yeah, it was it was bullshit, man. It was bullshit. That was supposed to be our episode 50, but it didn't take place. So sorry about that, guys. Didn't know that. I just thought it's minor bump in the road, and apparently this was a bump that caused us a huge gap in between because we were on the quarantine ever since March 16th. Quarantine hit Lithuania, and still here. It's not going anywhere, but it's definitely softer. We still have people getting sick, but we also have people that are more mindful and more careful. And now to put a mask on a face, it's not that ridiculous as it used to seem before. So we can handle a few sick people here and there, as long as we can obviously separate them from the seniors, from the risk groups. We'll be just fine. So I'm glad that we're taking that approach because this is the time now for me to record this. And I'm also glad that we actually have something to talk about. So yeah, I wanted to call this a recap of a quarantine recap episode. But we gonna have to talk about UFC that just happened. I mean, Gilbert Burns has arrived, and I will definitely have to touch on that as well. But for now, yeah, what we missed couldn't be the perfect time for Michael Jordan, only the greatest ever, to release one of his many documentaries about himself. Well, not necessarily about himself. Obviously, this is all also about Chicago Bulls, how they were brought up together, and obviously their last season together called Last Dance. But of course, without Michael, there's no documentary, and yeah, that was the biggest story of the day. I mean, I've seen so many people's reactions about it, so many people trying to record a podcast about it. To me, it just seemed too cliche and too, again, just too much of a popular move to do to go with that route. So I decided not to record anything. I just wanted to watch it at peace, see a few dissections from a few respected people, and that was it. I just enjoyed it without any media drama, without any interference and narratives from outsiders. And I gotta say, that made my week, all my weekends, all five of them. And I'm pretty sure that I'm speaking for everybody who's a sports fan, who's a basketball fan, who's just a fan of greatness. I mean, Michael Jordan was definitely one of the greatest athletes ever walk the earth, and it's just undeniable. The guy has been absolute winning machine, crazy work ethic, crazy just mentality and the way he treats his teammates, the way he approaches the game, how much of a student of the game he is, and yada yada yada. Really, nothing new. I mean, it's all that we knew about Michael from previous documentaries. I mean, there's a lot of great ones, and that's the thing. There's a lot of them. I remember after the first three-peat, it was a pretty good one. Obviously, very old school. Then right after everything is said and done, there's another great one. So there's been plenty of documentaries about Michael, and there's nothing new. So my original thought was when this went out, I was like, do we really need another documentary about Michael? Okay, it's not about just Michael. It's also about the Bulls. Who cares? I mean, without him, there's no documentary. I mean, they still talk mostly about him. I mean, he's the gravity point. I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy's guy. He's the champion of the champions. I mean, he's what we want to listen. He's what we want to watch. So I just didn't feel like I need this in my life, even though it is, dead in sports world. There's nothing going on, and we need some content. We need some entertainment. I thought I'd rather watch some, old TV series or read a book or something. But yeah, this was not something that I was really that much into. But then I hear, people talk. I think I waited for 4 episodes passing episodes were released, and I just hear this buzz. I hear this buzz from work. I hear this buzz, from relatives, from acquaintances, and all that. And all of a sudden, I'm started gaining some interest. I mean, damn, 10 episodes, and everybody's talking about it. Obviously, you know, for obvious reasons. I would just say that because again, nothing's going on. Well, anyway, people are still talking about it. There's apparently there's something to talk about. Apparently, it is very entertaining and deep, and obviously, it is. It's going to be deep. I mean, you cannot get superficial with 10 episodes. I mean, they go to the core. So, I don't know. With combination with that and just the reaction from everyone, I said that I will check it out, and I fell in love with Last Dance immediately. First episode, obviously great. Second, just as good. Third was great, amazing. Fourth was even better. I loved it. I loved it. I loved Michael's stories. I loved, to hear just a little bit something about Phil. Not too much about Phil Jackson. I thought, like this mastermind, he is Michael Jordan of coaching, pretty much. He's got all the championships, most than anyone. And he's deep. He's got that unique mentality. He's got that unique approach to the team, to the game, to his players. I wanted to hear more from Phil. I thought that was just missing just too much. And it was missing. I mean, it was missing, from a lot of players' standpoint. Dennis Rodman, I think they touched on enough. But Scottie Pippen, I wish they touched on him more. Michael did his job of giving props to Scottie and saying that you cannot mention my name without mentioning him. That was nice, but at the same time, it wasn't. They were not going too deep, except for Michael. With Michael, they went deep. I just wish they did something, not similar, not to any of that extent. I just wish they gave more attention time um, to Phil. I think Phil did deserve that. So anyway, I loved it. I loved it. I got hooked on it, and when it passed, when it was all over, it was just like some TV series ending. It's a bit of a bummer. Those first couple of days when your show is over, it sucks, man. You wish it was still going on. You wish some sort of a narrative would still fall out of it, and maybe there's a sequel, that you're not expecting to. Maybe they will bring it back for one more season, something like that. Yeah, when it's over, it's again, it's a bummer. It's depressing, and especially now when there's no other entertainment outlet to turn to. I know that people talk about Lance Armstrong, documentary right now, and people find ways to get entertained. But this was really good, and when it's over, we got to get back to our boring, shitty lives. But yeah, I gotta say, to me, the fear was that Michael's gonna come out like an asshole out of all this. Um, I tend to agree to Ryan Russillo. He was on Bill Simmons' podcast. They were recapping all this. They were the only ones that I was listening to, recapping all of it and diving into it, watching all games and all that. Gotta say, I loved it. I agree with Russillo. I don't think less of Michael. I think more of him. I don't know if that was even possible. I wasn't exactly the greatest fanboy ever, but I did follow his path. I did remember. I do remember those games in 96, 97, 98. Even though I was little as fuck, but I still remember. I remember pretending to be Michael Jordan and shooting those shots when I was a little kid watching TV. Watching him do great things. So I guess I'm a little bit of a fanboy of Michael, and I always thought highly of him. Whenever you watch those old games, you always remember what he did, and you always remember his mentality. You do know that he's not the nicest person. I mean, I don't know. The first time I've heard this was definitely not when I was a fan of him. Was definitely not when he was playing. even when he was playing with the Wizards. I don't remember that narrative. I think the first time I've heard it from, I don't know, like Fighter and a Kid or something, and they were talking about these great players, Kobe included. Because I guess you hear a lot of shit about Kobe. You've heard a lot of shit about him, how much of an asshole he was to his teammates. And, then at some point somebody mentions Michael's name there, and I was like, huh. So I guess Michael's that, huh? And apparently so. I mean, even when running his own business, everybody's gotta get up when he's up. Everybody's working around his time because his time is money, and you better make sure you deliver, or else you'll be fired, or else you won't be treated nicely. That's for damn sure. So I guess Michael always has that edge, but that's what makes him so successful. Whether that's a shoe deal, by the way, that shoe story with him in I don't remember which episode, but that was insane. I mean, again, just so many great tips and pointers from that documentary. To me, Michael has just been amazing. His stock just risen in front of my eyes. And him being an asshole, him punching somebody in the face. I mean, look at Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr doesn't mind it. Steve Kerr gladly tells that story, and he actually, he portrays himself just a little bit of a badass too. You know how competitive he is, and that actually he first hit Michael. I didn't even know that. So to me, I mean, it all makes sense. I mean, of course that this guy was this way. He was the ultimate winner. And what do you think? It's nice to be around him. When you don't deliver on the task, when he always has to deliver, it's insane. To expect for him to be a sweetheart and also don't have any shady, shady past or whatever, shady behind the scenes stuff like his gambling. I don't care about none of that. The guy is a winner, so I don't give a fuck about anything. It's not like he's into drugs or anything. He just likes to gamble, and he likes to demand a lot from his teammates, just like as much as he demands from himself. Again, that part what he was talking about, playing baseball and how you need to change your body and how hard he's gonna willing to work. He's willing to work. He just goes out there to the trainer and he asks him, when do you need me? Well, he's just like, I don't know, 7 o'clock. That's it. I'm there. I'm there. And, he's working until he's sore. He's nonstop. If something doesn't work, he's out there spending overtime for a couple of hours. And the way his trainer, was talking about him, how he was trying to come back, to be in basketball shape again, how he got choked up about it. I mean, it was so just perfectly done from all the angles, from all these people. I even loved Horace Grant, his take on the Pistons. B.J. Armstrong, putting his take. I think the only loser really coming out of it was Scotty, man. Scotty Pippen did not look good in this. They start basically like a second episode. They already start with Scotty not playing in '98, and that narrative, it just goes. From that narrative in episode 2, it goes to episode 3 or 4 or whatever, where he's got the migraine, and everybody feels like it's bullshit. I don't feel that way. Look, I love Scottie Pippen. I think he is amazing, amazing defender. I do remember I did watch the old games quite a lot when I was younger. Predominantly, obviously, I watched Michael, but when there's a difference, when Scotty joins Michael, man, he was a beast. Man, he was a beast, and he made the Bulls really, the championship contender. Before that, I mean, it was just a nice story of Michael Jordan. What is he gonna do? Maybe they're gonna make the playoffs. Maybe he's gonna make some splashes, but that's gonna be pretty much it. They're not gonna win any championships. And with Scotty, that was realistic. And Scotty did some crazy shit. Crazy blocks, crazy dunks, big shots. I mean, he had the full package. But this documentary doesn't do him justice. I mean, he looks selfish out here. He looks weak out here. I don't know. I guess Scotty's just, he's a very calm, silent type of a player and person. As you can see, even in this documentary, he's not he's never raising his voice. He's never talking too much shit or anything. He's not talking shit at all, actually. So, he's just cool, calm, collected. He's doing his job. He's just speaking his deep voice. And, even the way he broke down why he's going to come back after all, because, he wanted to be traded, actually. Even in the past, man, even 20 years ago, this was happening. Players were demanding to be traded, which it's such a daily thing nowadays in NBA. But yeah, he was actually setting an ultimatum for the Bulls, and Bulls did not cave, and actually Scotty had to take the high road here and actually take the deal and stay with the Bulls. And the way he breaks it all down, he wasn't pissed. He wasn't anything. He was just like, well, yeah, they're gonna keep finding me, so I'd better play. Still want to play, so whatever. So to me, I miss more of those gems because I think right up until the end, Scotty looks to be just a bad prom date for Michael, and that was certainly not the case. And I see the narrative now with people that I know. They're all shitting on Scottie Pippen now, and now they think that Michael did it everything by himself, which is definitely not true. Scotty was a huge impact along with other players, but Pippen was so necessary. There's a reason why Michael says that you cannot mention his name without Scotty's, and there's truth to that. You just need to watch the games. If you just watch this documentary, just really doesn't tell the full nice story of Scottie Pippen. But then at least his legend is saved at the end. When they play that game and Pippen is immediately injured, his back is just shut. And the way he plays through it, the way he still manages, to be out there for his guys and just to do the dirty work, just to be the decoy, but sometimes still score. He still did some shit. I mean, Pippen was a hero in that game. Michael was the most definite hero out there, obviously, but Scotty was right up there. Michael did not have a good game. Without Scotty, they're not winning that game. And with you know now then they go to Game 7, and it doesn't seem like Pippen would be healthy for Game 7. So yeah, the Bulls probably lose that season. If that's the narrative, if that's how everything goes through, the Bulls did not come out with 6 championships after that year. I'm quite confident in those words, actually. Nobody's really debating this. Nobody's really touching on that too much. Probably people still believe that, Michael would have found a way somehow, some way, but Michael has nothing left. He's got nothing left for that season. So so does Scotty. They have nothing. All that team is just tired of going through final after final, tired of being successful. And you don't need to look that much deep into the history to see those examples. Just look at the Warriors just recently. So it's understandable, and it doesn't seem like they have what it takes, for Game 7. It's either right now or we're done for. And we know the stats. Game 7 is usually, predominantly is being won by the team who's playing at home. So so yeah, I don't know. I really feel like this could have been such a different story if Scottie Pippen doesn't play through the pain and all that, back tightness, soreness, whatever. He seemed paralyzed out there. He seemed so flat on his feet and just stiff as a board. I've never seen a player being as stiff as he was. And the fact that he still played like 20 or something minutes, that's insane. That at least salvages, Scottie Pippen's legend because, it should have been. He's been a heck of a player. And yeah, that documentary till that point did not do him much justice. So yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it was amazing that it's been, just out just now at this perfect time when we have nothing else to watch. And yeah, it was exciting. I enjoyed it. I know so many people that did too. I think it was a home run for everybody, even though there's some backlash and now there's a lot of dissections of what's been said and what's true, what's not. I don't give a fuck. I've seen it on tape. I've heard it. I've heard some footage that it's never been heard before. We saw some footage that's never been seen before. And, there's been a lot of players that testified to a lot of those facts. Horace Grant was there to talk his piece. Isaiah Thomas was there like a champion, man, talking about everything. So I loved it. Overall, I think it was well done, and kudos to everybody who actually showed up there and gave their 2 cents of a dollar. So yeah, great documentary. That was one of the biggest things that happened throughout the quarantine. But the biggest, most exciting thing is still whether we're gonna see NBA season happening or not. And I don't know. There's every single day it seems like there's some momentum. Then that momentum stops a little bit. Now it is plausible that at the end of July the playoffs will resume. It's not clear of the format. It's not clear, how many teams. Playoffs will resume. I should say season will resume. I'm not even sure if it's going to be right to the playoffs or what's going to happen, but the plans are optimistic that something is going to work. Just not sure of the venue, just not sure of the format. All those things are whatever. We will deal with them once we get there. But the main thing is that the season will take place. It will be finalized at the end of it all. We will have a champion, hopefully. So obviously that did not happen throughout the quarantine, but I don't care. Middle of the summer, look, Olympics is not happening, so I'll gladly take NBA any point of the year. I don't care if it's vacation time, vacation season, or whatever. NBA is NBA, and the playoff basketball is the greatest thing ever. So I will definitely tune in whenever it's gonna start. But yeah, I just wish it happened just a little bit sooner. Thankfully, though, UFC kept us entertained. So let me just grab a sip of water because I'm not used to this. I don't have the cardio. So let me take a little break and we will recap what took place in UFC because there's quite a stuff to get into. Stay tuned. Okay, so throughout all this time, when we had nothing going on besides the Last Dance documentary, UFC just released, oh well, 4 cards. Uh, one just being just recently, which is not the dark ages of the quarantine anymore, but still, they're still the only ones that really keeping us entertained besides Bundesliga. And hey, I love soccer. I love Bayern Munich. Bundesliga is not the most exciting thing to watch. UFC is though, and they goddamn deliver. Every single card was not all of them were absolutely outstanding or whatever, but they had their pieces. They had their moments. All of them were still entertaining, and overall, you don't feel like I was robbed or anything. I was robbed of the time or whatnot. It was time worth be spending, watching this because it's been exciting, and it opened up in the most exciting way with UFC 249. Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson. Obviously, by now everything's been known, everything's been talked about. I just, uh, I just want to say that I'm happy that finally we don't need to talk about Ferguson and Khabib anymore. It's a shame that it never happened. I really think that it should have happened with once Tony, pulled off his not pulled off. He tore his ACL or MCL was it? I don't remember now exactly, but that time was the perfect time. I was the most disappointed then when it did not take place. And I thought this is just such a bullshit fucking reason for it not to happen. Just, slipping on some wires or whatever, whatever happened back then. Just it's almost only it just shows that God even didn't want this to be happening. And I'm not sure why exactly, but it was cursed right from the beginning up until now. The curse is lifted, and it's been lifted by Justin Gaethje becoming, the guy who stopped Tony Ferguson. God damn it. That was a heck of a fight. 5 rounds of absolute ass whooping. Ferguson. Now that I think of it, I wonder, did Ferguson had his moments? I really feel like he did, but I also remember that Gaethje just did. Gaethje did what to a lesser extent, but at the same time, maybe even more impressive. What TJ Dillashaw did to Renan Barao. I remember watching that fight right up until the end. I immediately thought of that fight when Barao was untouchable. He was just throwing spinning head kicks left and right, and just holding to his belt, looking untouchable. Out of nowhere, TJ shows up. This guy who's just not supposed to be here. Just because he's promoted by Uriah Faber, it's almost that's why he's getting this title shot. Then boom, he just drops that right hand in the first round and just delivers a perfect ass whooping up until the fifth round, until he actually knocks Barao out. This is exactly what I thought of it, here. But yeah, oh yeah, Ferguson definitely had his moments. I mean, he dropped Gaethje quite a few times, right? Heck of a fight. I mean, just absolutely outstanding, outlandish, and yeah, it's given to Gaethje. I must say that I did feel like it's gonna happen this way. Not to a point, not via knockout even. Although I did think that if this fight is gonna end, it's probably just only way possible is this way. But I just felt like, man, we were waiting for this Khabib shit for so long. Never gonna happen. There's, if it's not this, it's cables. I mean, think about think about this. There's always something like tiramisu, right? Fucking cables. Now, goddamn quarantine or pandemic. There's just every single time it just gets worse and worse with this shit. So it just seemed like at some point this is gonna hit the brick wall, and who's gonna be? Who's it gonna be? And Justin Gaethje just showed up and spoiled the party for us. But also, I think at the same time, he just saved us from an exhausting setup and lead up until Ferguson and Khabib fights. Because I gotta say, I felt exhausted. By another lead up to their fight, and still in the end, I was feeling like, man, maybe this is not gonna happen. I always had that in my head, and obviously it went the way it went. So I'm glad that Justin Gaethje stepped in, and I'm glad that he's a interim champion now, and he's gonna get his shot at Khabib now as well. Definitely would have loved to see Tony versus Khabib, but it is what it is. Gaethje now it is. So yeah, heck of a card was that. I mean, Cejudo versus Cruz. Oh man, I was hoping for Cruz to show up just a little bit better, but yeah, it's over. It's over for Cruz, I guess. Cejudo was just a beast, faster, less predictable. It's almost like Cruz has been figured out. I know it's weird to say this, and he's the last guy to be figured out because he's so unpredictable and so awkward and everything. But man, Cejudo just he saw him right through. He saw Cruz right through, and it was disappointing. I mean, I was so much rooting for Cruz, and I never root for Dominic. But I just don't like Cejudo. I don't like his antics. I don't like what he talks. I liked him before. The first time he fought DJ, I liked his approach. The humble approach to the game. But after that second fight with DJ, once he finally got the belt, he became just a poseur, in my opinion. But he's got a perfect career. That not cannot be taken away from him. The guy has a perfect career. Olympic gold medalist, two belt champion. He's got it all now. So obviously he deserves the money, and he tries to spice it up a little bit with his stupid trash talking, which I don't think it works, but must be working for somebody because that's the recipe that every fighter follows. So yeah, disappointing for Cruz, but I'm still amazed by Cejudo, what he did. I mean, Dominic had no chance. It just it seemed like maybe he's gonna figure him out at some point, but he was losing that fight. Cejudo did everything right, was beating him right from the start, being aggressive, came out with a great game plan up until the finish in the second round. Francis Ngannou, Jesus Christ, that KO of Rosenstruck. That's such a controversial ending because Francis was just his chin was all up in the air. Oh my god! I mean, it was like I was throwing those punches. It's like such an amateur shit. But at the same time, Jorginho was so concerned about Francis' power that he just had nowhere to go. And obviously, he was not trying to meet Francis punch to punch. He was just trying to kind of, technically avoid Francis. So Francis just goes bonkers, chin up in the air, arms flying left and right, all around, up and down, until he catches Rosenstrike. In 20 seconds, man, he did it. And then he delivered like 4 or 5 solid punches right to the dome after that. Ooh, boy, that's a brutal sight to see. Francis is a scary, scary man. I don't know. I want to see him against DC. We saw against Stipe, and actually, even though we did see that, and Stipe, beat his ass, I feel like Francis wins this time. Something has changed about this guy, and he's back to his humble beginnings, but now he's actually just beating everybody left and right, So he doesn't lose focus. He doesn't believe his own hype anymore. He knows what he's got to do. Even in this fight, he fought this way. He rushed him this way because he knew that Rosenstruck is a technical fighter. He took a brutal beating for 5 rounds. Well, maybe not that brutal, but he took a beating from Overeem for 5 rounds. And Overeem's knees and kicks and punches, it's everything. Everything is world class. So he took all that. He took all that power because Overeem's got life changing kicks and knees. And with all of that in a bag, he still knocked him out in the 5th round. So I guess Francis just realized that I don't want to fuck with this guy. I don't want to go in technical battle. Let me just rush him and see what happens. And yeah, we saw what happened. So yeah, heck of a fight there. And then, actually, before that, Kelvin Qatar, man, lands a perfect elbow right to the nose of Stevens. Man, that was brutal. Again, change of the guard. Stevens, I guess, just doesn't have it anymore. Calvin Qatar is this Cater, sorry, is this guy, that is now the dark horse in the league. And man, he proved it. Greg Hardy opened up the shindig. Yeah, won the unanimous decision. I don't care about that. Anthony Pettis, Donald Cerrone. Yeah, Pettis looks a bit chubby, man. I mean, 170, obviously, this was. So I guess it's understandable. But still, I don't get it. I mean, Pettis was such a fit killer, it's just athletic and perfectly shaped or whatever. He had something, he had something. When he was on the run, he had something. He looked differently. Now he looks, I don't know, is it washed? Is it beat? Is it broken? I don't know. But he doesn't look the same. Cerrone looked like Cerrone looks, and I really think he won that fight. But yeah, they gave it to Pettis. Even Pettis thought that Donald won that fight. It's so crazy. I mean, the first time these guys fought, I mean, Donald was talking some shit. Pettis did not take it lightly. They didn't even, shake hands. I mean, touch hands, touch gloves. Donald won it at the beginning of the fight. Pettis said, "Get that shit out of my face," and just kicked him in his stomach and finished it in the first round. This time around, I mean, those guys were friends. You can see that, and actually congratulated each other. And Pettis thought that Donald should have won. Yeah, it was nice, but yeah, just I don't know where Pettis goes from here. It seems like he lost, and he didn't look like a champion. He doesn't look like a champion anymore. That's for sure. I don't know where he goes from here, but he's still young, so I hope he can get the shit together and and somehow get back there. But maybe his time is over. Yeah, Alexei Olenek fought Verdum. Verdum looked very bad. Uh, he had a 2-year hiatus because of some PEDs. Yeah, that's crazy, right? Yeah, so Olenek beat him. Yeah, Verdum doesn't look good. Another guy, just it seems like just recently he's been a champion. Just recently he's been on the top of the world. When he finished Kane, That was the most insane thing ever. And he enjoyed that time, but now it's over. It really seems like he's got nowhere to go. Yeah, nothing much else to say there. Esparza beating Michelle Waterson. Yeah, these fights are did not look that great. But then we started with Vicente Luque and Nico Price. My God, what a fight! Vicente Luque, no joke. This guy is. Nico Price, very awkward and dangerous, but Vicente just, he sticks to what he does best, and yeah, he did it all. That was a beautiful. It was a doctor stoppage, but I mean, yeah, Price took a beating in that one. So anyway, a great card, and this is the way we started. We were starving for some action, we were starving for some sports, and this is what UFC brings us. After all this, yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible, and that put them right back to the game. And then they go like several days after that, and they go with UFC Fight Night, Anthony Smith and Glover Teixeira. Out here, if we start from the bottom, and I'm not gonna start with preliminary fights here, I just wanted to show you guys how 249 was so awesome that even preliminary fights, all of them pretty much were pretty good, and this one was not the case, but still, the main event, definitely worth looking at that. And yeah, even before that, the main card itself just had some good fights. Well, first, Thiago Moises, man, defeated Michael Johnson in matter of seconds. In matter of seconds, he just got him in a heel hook, and it was all she wrote. It's weird now. Actually, in the most recent fight card as well, and I think the fight card before, we do see a lot of leg submissions. It's something that I have not seen that much before. There were some usual suspects. Obviously, Toquinho, he was always out there, doing his thing. And now, obviously, we know some famous people that go about jiu-jitsu world just doing this, the leg locks. But still, in the UFC, it's a different game because you get punched in the face, and obviously, it's much more slippery. So there are ways to escape. And yeah, I did not expect to see this much heel hooks and knee bars and all that. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to actually see that more and more taking place. Yeah, I'm interestingly excited about that. So yeah, that was the first fight. Then Andre Arlovsky, still doing the goddamn thing, fought Philippe Lynch, I guess his name is. Unanimous decision. I don't even remember what happened there. I think Lynch had a case that he won, but no, let me just check the card. 30-27, 30-27. So I guess he hasn't. But yeah, I guess there was something controversial about that fight. Ricky Simone versus Ray Borg. That was a heck of a fight. Split decision, Ricky Simone's way. Yeah, both guys are up and comers. I mean, Ray Borg, I guess, has arrived before, but Ricky Simone is putting a good case for himself. And then Drew Dober just annihilated Alexander Hernandez. Jesus Christ, Dober is a beast. Hernandez is a beast, you know? Just recently, he was kind of a dark horse, up and comer. Hits Donald Cerrone, and actually gets hit by him, gets finished. And then I don't know, just he slowed down just a little bit, and now Drew Dober is the hottest shit around the town. Co-main event: Ben Rothwell, Ovin St. Preux. Yeah, nothing too great about that fight. Ben Rothwell finally wins a split decision after his hiccups. Hiccups with USADA, hiccups with obviously guys like JDS. He got beat up a little bit in the past after being after he submitted Josh Barnett. That was just like the craziest thing ever. And it seemed like Rothwell was actually pulling a case for himself to actually contest for the belt. But yeah, then he loses to Blago Ivanov. loses to Andrei Arlovsky, all decisions, and oh, he beats Struve. Okay, he beats Struve just recently, December 7th. Okay, so he took hiatus and then beat Struve. Took hiatus because of PED usage, and now he finally also wins against Ovin St. Preux, who's debuting as a heavyweight. Anyway, boring fight this was, so nothing too much to talk about here. However, wow, Glover Teixeira and Anthony Smith, the main event delivered big time. Oh my God. Anthony Smith had his moments, I would say. But Teixeira, man, this guy just doesn't quit. How old is he? I mean, when he fought John Jones, it seemed like it's over. He's just never going to get through him. Did not have his number. John was just too much for him, and that happened like 5 years ago, and he's 40 now. Wow. And then he had some losses to some unknown guys. Phil Davis beat him right after that fight. And then he gets knocked out by Anthony Johnson and Gustafsson. Those were some brutal KOs. Right, and he lost to Corey Anderson. Out of all the people, I mean, I was not expecting him to lose to Corey, because he beat, he beat a lot of guys. Jared Cannonier, Misha Serkinov, all those guys that he was supposed to beat, he did. But yeah, to Anderson, for some reason, he lost a unanimous decision. I guess Anderson just wrestled the shit out of him. And yeah, it seemed like that's it. He's just going to be fighting these guys, Jan Kutalabas and Nikita Krylovs of the world. Krylovs, actually. So yeah, it seemed like it's over for Glover. No pun intended. No. Anyway. So yeah, he fights Anthony Smith, who just had an amazing performance, first of all, against John Jones. And also, he had a stellar win against Gustafsson. He submitted Gustafsson, rear naked choke. So yeah, he's facing Teixeira, and he should be the guy who's making a claim, for the belt again. And Glover just handled him, and just pummeled him. At the beginning, it seemed like Smith has what it takes. First round for sure. Second round, I don't remember now. But it seemed like for first couple of rounds, Smith looked okay until I think he gets dropped. Maybe it was in the second round. And then slowly gets controlled and more. He slows down, he gets controlled, gets taken to the ground. Teixeira did whatever the fuck he wanted to him. And in the end, he beat his ass real good. There was some controversy whether, his corner should have thrown the towel much earlier. I guess they should have. I would not be opposed of that. But yeah, they didn't, and Smith is not, appealing for that. Although fighters never are. I don't know what to tell you here, but yeah, the fact is, that's besides the point. The fact is that Glover looks amazing again, and now, man, I want to see him against. I don't know, throw him against the guy who just fought John Jones. Damn, what's his name? The Mexican name. He's got a Spanish name. I don't remember his name now. Jesus. Anyway, he's definitely back to the top. And once I put the rankings up in here, I don't know where's it going to take me. But yeah, Glover is unbelievable. I hope that he fights one of the better fighters here right now. Shit, this is bugging me. I'm going to look up this name real fast. Dominic Reyes. Yes, Dominic Reyes. Put him against him. Put him against Thiago Santos. Somebody. I mean, he's supposed to get, only the best after such a win, and he's on a winning streak anyway. So, yeah, very very impressed I was by Glover. He's on a 4-fight winning streak right now. So, yeah, that's all it takes for him to be relevant in a light heavyweight division. And, he did it not against some scrub. He did it against Anthony Smith, which was legitimately tough. A guy who had a chance to win the belt, actually, a legit chance to win the belt. So, yeah, Glover becomes a winner of that day. Several days after Gaethje is a winner of the whole day, really. So that was UFC for you, and you think this is over? Oh no. Several days after this, they got another event, which is headlined by Alistair Overeem and Walt Harris. Man, I did not watch this card. I actually watched the fight companion. I thought that will be enough. I wasn't too crazy about these fights. Song Yadong, obviously, Uriah Faber's guy from China. He looks very promising, fighting Marlon Chito Vera. That was a big fight. But besides that, Krzysztof Jotko, I guess, against Eric Anders. Man, I thought Anders was supposed to win this, but yeah, Jotko beat him in an unanimous decision. A lot of decisions and a lot of controversial ones. Dan Ige against Edson Barbosa. People thought Barbosa won, I think. And Claudia Gadelha against Angela Hill. People thought that Hill won for sure, and yeah, Claudia did win that one. So yeah, just some boring ass decisions with a lot of controversy. So nothing much that I missed, but the fight of the day was Alistair Overeem against Walt Harris, and obviously Walt Harris, people were rooting for this guy because he just lost his daughter. Or I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know that she was. I'm sorry, stepdaughter actually. She was. I think she has disappeared, and then people found. She was found dead. So it was some deep shit that he was going through, and people were rooting for him so he could get back on track and actually devote his win and him getting back to the octagon. Devote all that to his stepdaughter. But Alistair said, "Well, fuck you guys. I got a fight to win." And this was a hell of a fight. Walt drops Alistair. And usually when Alistair gets dropped, when he gets touched by legit punches, he usually doesn't find himself out of it. He's just he's been so chinny that he gets finished, but not this time, man. Savvy veteran did his thing, survived it somehow, and reversed the position. Dropped Harris actually, took him down to the ground, and when Alistair's on top, we all know that his jiu-jitsu game is legit, that he can hold himself against a lot of tough dudes. So he did that against Harris, I think, in the first round. And in the second round, he gets him down, or I don't remember right now. He probably dropped him and then just finished him off. So, yeah, needless to say, Harris did not come out victorious out of this. He gets finished by punches in the second round. And Alistair, what a class! He just gave some words of spirit, to Walt after the fight. He helped him back up and all the good stuff. I mean, Alistair is such a professional. I mean, this guy is doing the damn thing for 20 goddamn years, even more than that. And he's been fighting for the belt so many times. He's always out there fighting the best guys. Somebody brought this up that he's been fighting, consistently top five guys for like 10 years or something. I mean, ever since he was in UFC, which I think he debuted in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. 2011, actually. Ever since then, he's been fighting top tier guys, and yeah, finishing them, getting finished, a lot of knockouts delivered by him, knockouts delivered to him, and yet he's still doing the goddamn thing. He had Stipe on the ropes. Stipe barely survived that. He got him in the guillotine, thought that he tapped, so I guess he let go, and Stipe, killed him then. Yeah, man, Alistair, apparently he still has more energy, and he still wants to get that crack at the belt just one last time. Why don't give it to him? He's a heck of a fighter. I would love to see him finally succeeding at that. So yeah, it was a great card. In total, in a span of 10 days, UFC delivered three great cards, and it was just for us there to sit there and soak it all in. So kudos to the UFC, the only show in town really know how to get stuff going, really know how to make money. Again, kudos to Dana. He is the guy who controls all the plugs, and if he says that something is going to happen, it happens, and it did. It was a great time, great 10 days, great span of 2 weeks or whatever. Great content, the news, everything finally was flowing again. We got the post press conferences and everything. It was spectacular. It was a great time. And now this week, well, again, we're recording this on Monday. So the latest UFC just happened. Again, Fight Night, whatever, on ESPN. I know that much. Gilbert Burns defeated Tyron Woodley. Also, some news breakout with John Jones actually claiming that he's gonna, as I understand, he has not just yet, but he will vacate his light heavyweight title. So does that mean that he's moving up a weight class and to fight heavyweights, or does that mean that he's actually moving away from UFC? Something's going on. I mean, he's got some issues with Dana, as they always do, I guess. Um, John Jones is always in the mix when when he's not fighting. I guess apparently he's the loudest. That seems to be the case right now. But yeah, something's going on. I'm sure that we will find out more later on. But yeah, you can see that finally, UFC drama, MMA drama is back on track because the thing that I wanted to talk about was Gilbert Burns' perfect performance. But then I see, John Jones in the news, and obviously we got everybody, all the athletes, and not just athletes, just people in general, obviously, rallying for the George Floyd guy. I guess that's his name. The rallies and the riots actually are going on in Washington. For that guy being killed by the cops. So yeah, world is back in place. Not to be excited about something like a riot and cops killing a black guy, but I'm just saying that there's just a lot of drama again, a lot of action again, and fighters and other athletes, just like NBA. That's the biggest story of the day right now. They're still in the mix. They're still in the mix, so everybody's everybody's got their piece to talk about right now. So I don't want to get too much deep into that. I really want to highlight, and this is what I was itching mostly to do today, was to highlight Gilbert Burns' perfect performance because this just happened. I just saw the fight today, and this one actually took place in UFC Apex facility, which is in Vegas. I don't know if this is related to Performance Institute, but I would think so. This is where they record Tuesday Night Contenders, I believe. I gotta say, first of all, I welcome the site. It was amazing to see, back in, it's not something that I would love all the time, but there's something cool about watching it, Ultimate Fighter style. Just the corner men, the cameras, the commentators, and all that, but no stupid fans, nobody chanting some bullshit. You hear every kick, you hear every sigh, you hear everything. It's really spectacular. It's To me, this was the first time it really hit me. Before the audio sounds, I don't know. This time I watched it with headphones, so maybe that was it. But the first three fight cards did not have the same effect on me. But this one most certainly did. When they actually unlocked the cage and opened it, I thought something broke. I thought, oh shit, this apex is falling down, and apparently that was just the sound of gate opening. And there's a lot of all those tweaks like that. And another one was just the commentating. You can hear the commentators actually scream loud, not only through the microphone, but also like through the arena. It's pretty crazy. And by the way, the commentators, the combination with Michael Bisping and DC, I've been enjoying it ever since those guys were put up together. I got to say, Michael and Daniel, they have a great dynamic. Obviously, Michael fought Rockhold, and Rockhold trains with DC. They're buddies, so Bisping just doesn't shy away to throw some jabs at at DC's buddy, and DC is like, "Ah, man, come on, Mikey, come on, Mikey." It's very exciting, and they both, they feed off each other so well. And Bisbing is just always, "Ah, you goddamn wrestlers, you always do this and do that," and Daniel just laughs it off. I think they have a great dynamic. They can get serious, they can get silly, and both of them are just like that. They can both be serious, but also have a great time together. So I think it was a perfect dynamic, and I enjoyed watching it very much. But also, what I wanted to say originally, that you can hear their screams, you know, throughout the arena, not just on them speaking on the mics. So all these sound bits like that, it was something unique, and it was a lot of fun. It was especially fun actually to hear the impact. How powerful all those guys hit, how powerfully they kick. So it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I think that UFC should think more of this. For the hardcore fans, because the fans obviously they give a certain amount of flair, of taste for you, and it makes you enjoy everything just so much. You being one with the crowd, I guess that feeling, it's pretty awesome too. But just to hear and appreciate the impacts, the power, and all those things. Just like you being in Saitama Super Arena or something. That's pretty cool too. That's pretty cool too, and I wish more of that would happen. So anyway, that out of the way, the card was amazing. First, Mackenzie Dern, again, the knee barred Hannah Cyphers. I mean, Cyphers just went out there like a bat out of hell. She knew that she had to make it dirty against Mackenzie, and well, Mackenzie did not get bothered by that too much. Maybe a little bit, but in the end, she got Hannah Cyphers where she wanted, and she, yeah, knee barred her. That was a beautiful submission, beautifully done, early in the first round, midway through the first round. Then Roosevelt Roberts against Brock Weaver. Whew, man, Roosevelt Roberts, man, that guy came on a mission. Both guys did not like each other too much. There was apparently a lot of animosity between both of them. But yeah, Roberts proved to be the better guy. I mean, he beat the shit out of Weaver, and in the end, he choked him out. So great win by this guy. Actually, these fight nights I usually hate because I have a bunch of names I see there that I have never seen before. I hear them somewhere in the background of them in the background, but I have never seen them. And usually this is the perfect time, these fight nights to get to see them. But usually the fights are boring, or it's just not interesting. But it wasn't the case here. And Roosevelt was one of those guys. I did not know him. And yeah, man, he delivered. And the same thing with Billy Carantillo against Spike Carlisle. Oh my God, the Spike Carlisle guy. Wow, what a fight was this! What a wild, wicked fight, crazy. And this was one of those fights where DC and Michael just had a lot of fun. It was amazing to watch. Commentating was amazing. The fight was amazing. Um, Carantilo wins, I guess, a controversial decision, but to me, I think he should have won. I think he should have won. Spike Carlisle, this guy just, he shot his load in the first round. He just went crazy, absolutely ballistic, just doing some, he did like Michelle Pereira stuff. Not to that extent, but just in terms of exerting energy. It's just he was going way too crazy, and apparently this Carantilo guy is known, to take damage but keep his composure, you know, Darren Elkins like or something. And he did exactly that. He took Carlisle down multiple times in the second and third round, and that earned him a victory. He almost finished Carlisle actually. That third round, man, Carlisle spit his mouthpiece, got punched in the face left and right. It was not a pleasant sight to see. I was rooting for this guy, but man, he was getting beat up. And again, it's a shame. It's a shame when guys open up this crazy in the first round and then they have nothing left. He did have something that left for the second round. Could have easily won the second round. although it went to Quarantillo, in the majority, I guess. Oh no, it's a unanimous decision. So yeah, and then for the third one, he definitely was gone. So yeah, good win for Quarantillo. I love both guys. I'm gonna watch them now. I know their names now. Yeah, co-main event: Augusto Sakai against Blago Ivanov. Yeah, Sakai did what he was supposed to do. Kept it technical, beat the shit out of Blago's legs. Um, Not too entertaining of a fight. Again, just I guess not. Heavyweight division is just not that exciting anymore. It used to be like, oh my god, heavyweights are showing off. One of the guys are going down. Maybe it's not the perfect way to think of it because these guys are getting more technical. I would say, but at the same time, we just get a lot of shitty split decisions, just like this one. Although, again, this was one of those times where you can hear everything, and Sakai's kicks and both guys, punches. Oh boy, that was brutal. That is a brutal thing to hear, especially those kicks, man. Oh boy. So that was something that I enjoyed, but in the end, yeah, it wasn't. You know, there was nothing else that will rock your hair back. Let's just put it that way. That was not the case in the main event of the evening, though. Oh boy, Gilbert Burns fought Tyron Woodley. Burns riding that high off against Damian Maya. That was a big win that he has just recently accomplished. I mean, when was that? March 14th, 2020, right before the quarantine. He beat the shit out of Damian Maya, and after before that, he beat Gunnar Nelson. Man, I love Gunnar. I wonder where is he? Uh, yeah, Mike Davis. Other dudes. Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He beat some dudes. He beat some guys, and he had quite of a winning streak. And he was just looking, for that fight where you could say that he has arrived. And boy, oh boy, was this fight where he arrived. He just, again, perfect performance. Just like Gaethje against Ferguson, or just like Usman against Woodley, Gilbert Burns did also a masterpiece against Tyron Woodley. Unanimous decision. 10-8 round actually what has been scored. The first round, I would assume. In my eyes, it wasn't 10-8 because Woodley escaped. Gilbert just opened up like a beast, immediately backs Woodley up, drops him, and then gets on mount. And there's like 4.5 minutes left, at least 4 minutes left. And Burns is already in mount position on Woodley. And just, he was threatening with a choke. Then let's go, tries to beat him up, soften him up, elbow him up. Woodley was in trouble, but then Woodley just, like Michael said, just a freak of a nature as he is, he just decides like, fuck this, I'm just getting up, and he just got up. It doesn't matter what Burns was doing, how well and skillful he was in controlling Woodley. Woodley just decided to get up, and that's what he did. And that was midway through the first round, I would say, and to me, that's why I would not have granted this as a 10-8 round. But either way, that's neither here nor there. Second round, the same thing continues. Burns was just faster. Woodley was slower. I don't know. I mean, the last time Woodley fought was Usman, and that was 15 months ago. So maybe he's still shook by that. Maybe there's ring rust factor. Ring rust combined with the fact that he just lost his belt. I'm not sure, but man, Woodley did not look great in this fight, just like he did not look great against Kamaru. He looked a bit off, and Burns was just beating him to the punch, and you can see, Woodley is just getting mad that he is getting caught. By the time Woodley wants to throw, Burns already is touching his face. So, yeah, it was interesting. Maybe Woodley is just, he's lost his step. I mean, the guy he's definitely 36. Oh, 38. 38 years old. Yeah, just recently turned. So, it's even though he still looks like a specimen, obviously, but the speed must have left him. He doesn't have the same speed. He's still got the explosion. He's got the power for sure, but I guess he's just not able to touch you before you touch him. Um, yeah, he seemed a bit off, and Woodley is so not good at fighting from behind, meaning that getting back into the fight, whilst he's been in put in some bad positions. He's not. He's a good front runner, but once he needs to follow the lead, and actually, do something to actually tip the scales to his side, he's not good in those types of situations. We've seen this plenty of times. There's a reason why there's so many stinkers with this guy, that he just shells up, and once he shells up, that's it. You're not gonna get the fun out of it. And I think that's what happened, with him here, and that's what happened with Kamaru as well. And Burns was just on a mission. His timing was right. His striking was unbelievable. No bullshit strikes. Everything was fast, to the target, and very technical. That's what training with Henry Hooft, with the likes of that, really does for you. So yeah, that was in full on display with Woodley, and yeah, Woodley just had nowhere to go. At one point it seemed like maybe he's going to drop Burns, but Burns was just motivated, looking through Woodley and going through everything that he was throwing, and actually hurting Woodley bad. With kicks, with punches, always making Woodley think, keeping guessing, backing him up, and then actually threatening with some submissions. He has gone a few. He has gotten a few chances out there. Woodley had no shot. So what does that to him? Man, I don't know. I don't know. He just lost to Usman. Now he loses to Burns. Those were top guys. But for Burns, this was, the highlight of his career. It's not like he was already claiming to be a champion. After this fight, he's going to, but, he wasn't actually making that case before this. So I don't know where Woodley goes from here. Maybe he decides to retire. It seems like from the talks, it seems like he's at peace. He doesn't care about it too much. Obviously, he's got a lot of other side deals. He's rapping right now. Maybe that's been, the reason why he doesn't seem so focused. Maybe that's the reason behind his lack of focus. Maybe that's the reason behind his lack of passion. I don't know. But at the same time, both Kamara and Gilbert, what they did, they just fought a perfect fight, exactly what you need to do against Woodley. And usually for these champions, when you stick around for so long, and Woodley has stuck around as a champion for quite a while, you get figured out. You need to change, and you definitely need less distractions in order to change. And for Woodley was vice versa. He was really riding high after that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson win, and then it was yeah. Wait, did he win the first fight against Thompson? No, that was a draw. Okay. So yeah, after this, I guess he's gonna retire. I mean, he's 38. Unless he wants to retire with the win, that's I think he's done his job. He did his job. He's been a champ. He's been a great champ. Not the most favorite, not the fan favorite either. But he did it. He did it. He defended quite a lot of time, and yeah, made a lot of money out of it. So the problem is that he never had Dana White on his side, and that always hurts. It doesn't matter if you're a champion or not. That hurts you. If you cannot be backed up by the president himself, yeah, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you everything, in fame, in financials, in everything, in opportunities elsewhere. Although Tyron is successful enough to do a lot of things on his own, so yeah, I'm not too worried about him. Now I wonder if Burns can actually get the title shot. Although I don't want him to skip. I don't want him to skip Jorge Masvidal. Still want to see Masvidal getting that crack against the champ, and then we'll see what's going to happen. Although if Masvidal fights Connor, I'll gladly see Burns fighting Guzman. Either way, we're up for some treats, that's for sure. And the champion has his hands full, with all these challengers piling up right now. So, yeah, this is UFC in a nutshell. This is everything that happened in these past 3 months or so. What can I say, guys? It's been amazing, and actually, we have an upcoming UFC card this weekend, so I will try to preview this at some point this week. Sooner rather than later. Hopefully, this will happen, and hopefully, we get to have some fun again. I'll try to be a regular again. So, yeah, for now, again, I just want to say I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that you guys are listening, even though there's no new content. So I'm glad actually to provide you some new content to listen to, and hopefully more of that content is going to keep coming. So thank you so much for listening, guys. Again, if you want to leave a comment or thought, please do so. Try to follow and subscribe at all the podcasting directories where I'm listed. I mean, I'm listed at all the major ones. Leave a comment or thought in the Facebook page or Instagram page. Your emails are always welcome at podcast.its@gmail.com. ITS for I Think Sports. So yeah, I guess that will be it. I think it's going to be a perfect ending to a comeback episode with the hope that more of those will turn up quite soon. So thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the time being back. Enjoy the summer, and don't forget to enjoy the sports, right? Until the next time.